ministers, goes down to the permanent secretaries and all the way down to all government officials. Our commitment will be zero tolerance to corruption. We've demonstrated that, and we will ensure that anybody that puts their hand in public money, the hand will not come out there, but the neck will go there as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Robert Chagulanyi. Nandala Mafabi, if you were to become president, how will you change what Mugisha Muntu referred to as the culture? So there's the command culture that we're seeing right now. There's the oversight of security forces. And in the most recent days, as has been pretty much the last 3 electoral cycles, we have seen infringement on rights and freedoms and a fair playground for all the 8 candidates in the race. Right now, you are 8. You've been able to see what has happened to Mwami neighbor, Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu there, as he was traversing areas of Mukono, Kayunga, the tear gas, and some people, as we speak, are not here with us today simply because of that. If there were some people in your government that were not happy with how you were doing things, how would you deal with them?
First, to begin with, security is a cost. Currently, the budget of the current government, security is 9.7 trillion. 9.7 trillion. Instead of creating jobs or investing money in what? Security. And purposely to protect an individual. If you went now on the street, the insecurity you'll get there is not of a gun. You'll get an insecurity of somebody wanting to find something to eat. And that's why we're saying, first and foremost, to deal with the insecurity, you look at 3 things. The poverty, the inequality, and the injustice. If people have what to eat, they will not be on the street. There will be less cost in the security to police them. If there are inequalities, people will want to have equality. And as a government, you should ensure there is quality. Even our constitution is very clear. A country must be developed equally, where those who are less developed are given a special consideration. And this also brings a problem. Injustice. You treat others differently. Others don't obey the law. It's very dangerous. So what will happen? A good government should follow the rule of the law. And the rule of the law means everybody is equal before the what? The law. Currently, let me go ahead a bit, then I come back to security. Currently, we are getting political judgments. Political judgments. Not getting judgments following real justice. And the first place where people should be dealt with is judiciary. Now, in Uganda, the head of state is the same as the head of government. And you know, government is the one which consists of the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. Now, he's the head of state, he's the head of government, he interferes in all this. And the first thing to deal with is to reduce the powers of a president. So that's the first thing to deal with. And another thing which for us we're looking at is to restore even term limits and the age limit. Now, what will happen now? If you are not agreeing with somebody, you have no pass as head of state to be able to determine the case. There should be processes to determine. And the judiciary should be the one which works. The parliament should be the one which also works. And of course, the executive controls the police should be the one which works. I believe if police was a real police force, which is supposed to protect the citizens of Uganda, to maintain law and order, it wouldn't be the one to fight the citizens. And that's what we're saying. The police should be a professional police. That applies to the army. The army should be an army which is a professional army, not an army which comes to terrorize citizens.
Okay, allow me to interrupt. On that note, if you were to take over power, there's already a backlog in our prisons right now. 89% of citizens are aware of their right to seek justice, but only 17% are able to claim this justice and claim it in time, with only 15% knowing about the free legal aid in their sub-county levels. What are the top 3 justice sector reforms you would actually prioritize in order to deal with the backlog, especially for political prisoners, and disposal of targets, ensuring that this fairness and justice is delivered in real time?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, judiciary. You know, the judiciary does not function. If it is functioning, there are cases in those courts which are more than 20 years old, not decided. Now, those are both commercial cases and political cases. Now, political cases are basically for purpose of making a sitting government to infringe on the rights of individuals. So that's why the human rights organization, the Human Rights Commission, should be one of those enforcing this. The most important is to give capacity to Human Rights Commission, give it capacity, give it resources, and be able to investigate human rights abuses. Number 2, political prisoners, if you are in contestation of politics, it should also be decided in politics. There's no need to take your colleague in prison. If it is now like an election, allow him contest. Don't curtail anybody's rights. 3, access to justice. Of course, many people don't know their rights. And because even the access to justice sometimes is very expensive. Let me give an example. You go and get my mother deep in the village in the mountains, who will not know her rights. To go to court, you move maybe, say, 50 kilometers. What time will you reach court?
You have mentioned the cost of justice. What strategies would you deploy to reduce the cost of justice?
First of all, employ professional judges. You should not employ cadres. You should employ people who know their work. Number 2, you should ensure that there's public awareness. Where there is no one able to get justice, let's say getting a lawyer, the state should be able to provide remedies and make sure the person is represented. 3, there must be civic education. The civic education must be on radios every day, telling people that should you have this, this is what you should follow. This is where you should go. But here already was only talking about elections and PDM, what is not useful for now. This is very important, and that is a deliberate effort. You must invest in it. And of course, there must be also audit of judgments. The Judicial Service Commission, which is the one in charge of it, should audit these judgments to confirm if the judge was right or not. Of course, when I meet a judge, I'm meaning giving the magistrate grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 going upside. So we will need that. Also, the other one is we employ people whom have not even investigated, audited. In Kenya, they did it well. Before somebody is appointed, the public talks about them. Some of these people we employ are criminals, and they are the ones dealing with this. Some of them are merchants. So these are the things we should deal with. The public should come out, be public hearing before somebody is employed in the judiciary.
Thank you for that. Mr. Mabirizi, there's an act in a certain country called the Pose Comitatus Act, and it basically prohibits the army from operating domestically. From your approach of regionalism, how would you fix the Ugandan army? As we've heard, reports now saying that they will be responsible for protecting the vote after it's been cast, which is domestic approach, usage. How would your regional approach address this?
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. First of all, I want to arrest your fears. I'm going to start from the other end, not from where you want me to start from. You've heard me talking about regional governments. If you can recall, in 1980, there was a man called
Mayanja and Kanj. Mayanja and Kanj, you could raise out his 2 fingers. The 2 fingers representing, number 1, the government of peace, number 2, the 2 governments. And those 2 governments, we are talking about the regional governments. And when it comes to regional governments, we are the CP, we are the architecture, the champion of federal. So we are talking about federalism, the tangible one, which can work to solve all the problems of Uganda. So in a regional government, where I've already told you that there is share of power, so the recruitment of soldiers, the policemen and so forth, it depends on the population of the region or per region. Not only that, but in every region, because it is in the state of a federal government, in every region, they have got judiciary department in that small government. If I'm in the courts, call them small governments. They have a department which concerns with security. They have people who are responsible. They have ministers who can carry out different work in different departments. So with such a setting, you would have waved away or dealt away with only one man having all power on everything. So when you do that, the regional governments cater for their security because they are independent in their setting. These are federal governments. So they cater for their security, though they do work with the central government because it's a shared responsibility. It's a shared way of handling and working or promoting security in a nation. So once you have instituted regional governments, you will not have any problem with security. And when we talk about security, security starts with the citizens, getting to know who is my neighbor. So once the setting is in regional government, whoever enters that region, at least people get to know, each one has got to know his neighbor. Once there is any visitor who comes, so they get to know that so and so has come in. So with that, and having put judicial courts in all those regions, secured jobs for people, people have shared the power and responsibility, so you will not face any problem which concerns security. So we don't need to borrow any other kind of security abroad or looking at a certain government. We can just do our own here. Once we get to know that what can solve all the problems of Uganda is federalism. Without that, leaving power in only one man's hand, nothing can change.
Thank you for that, Candidate Mabirizi. At this point, Priscilla.
Well, at this point, you are reminded that we'll be closing this debate at 11 p.m. And as we do so, we do believe that you have reactions, you do have some comments. We do have sector leaders in our audience this evening that would like to respond to what has been submitted of our 5 candidates. Equally, our online audience has some burning questions, and so we'll be interacting with you in a short while. Let's start on our final bend, finance and economic development. And I'm going to start with the man who has told us that on the race to 2026, he intends to put money in what? In our pockets. Hey. Okay, fixing the economy is just one element, but one who's a financial advisory. What does Uganda need to fix the economy, with or without you as president? Nandala Mafabi.
I think you're aware. Let me start from 1986. In 1986, our budget was 777 billion, before removing the 2 zeros, 86, 87. And that budget was able to do a lot of work. You know, they did what they could. Even university students would study for free. Somebody would say it was only one university. Currently, if you remove 2 zeros, you get 7.7 billion. Right now, our budget is 72.3 trillion. That means it has gone more than 10,000 times. But what have we got? So all along this time, what has happened is what? One, wastage. We are talking about corruption. Is one of our main problems in this country. Every year they steal over 10 trillion shillings. Now when they are stealing that money, first it increases the demand on taxes. So that's why people have to pay taxes to cater for theft. In our economy, we have money in houses. It is counted in circulation, but it is not houses. But let me focus on the one of this current one. Now 72.3 trillion, yet we are estimating to collect 72.3 trillion, yet we're going to collect 37.2 trillion. It means already we have a deficit financing of 35.1 trillion. What does that mean? It means we're going to borrow. Now, that's what we go. They will go to commercial banks. I'm sure they are going also to go to money lenders like our local people are doing. But that already is a demand on cash in banks. Now, when the banks will be preferable to lend money to government than the private sector. So if the private sector does not borrow money for investment so that it can be able to generate jobs, because if I went to a bank, I want to borrow money to put up a maize mill, but because of the cost of the money, I will not go there. Eventually, that means that investment will not happen. Now, jobs will not be there because the current government will be the one going to the commercial bank to borrow. That's what we're calling crowding credit, which is meant for the private sector. 2, if people don't have jobs, there will be no power to consume. Because if I've got a job, I will have money to buy goods and services. And when I buy goods and services, that's when I will also be paying good taxes on consumption taxes. But since I don't have capacity, I will be remaining a beggar.
Speaking of taxes, I Naloga Priscilla Regina, I am constantly paying taxes. There's more taxes that are slapped on me ever so often. In short, what I'm trying to say is that the tax base remains the same. How do we expand the tax base?
I think if you had listened to me, you would have got how you expand. Because I've said, if you have overcrowded, you have crowded the credit for the private sector, there's no investment. If there's no investment, there's no employment. Anybody who is employed pays taxes by either consuming goods and services, if it's not at the pay as you earn level, but at a certain level, you'll pay as you earn, which is a direct tax. Now, how do we do this? First, we must release credit so that the private sector is able to access credit at a lower interest rate so that he's able to invest and get a return. Currently, the country Uganda we're living in, everybody now, if I'm not mistaken, every village you go now, there are money lenders who are lending our local people maybe 100,000, but they're charging 50% for only 1 month. Already those are the ones depriving those people to remain in poverty on a daily basis. Now, how do we go about it? We must expand the tax base. We shall expand the tax base if the government reduces its appetite for money which they are wasting. Cut corruption. Cut, you see defense, 9.9 trillion. If this money you invested it in productive sector, like agriculture, it will generate more money because that will create jobs. And that's what we're saying. It must be invested in better places. Insecurity will go down quickly because the biggest insecurity is because of lack of jobs. 3, currently, 14 people are the one maintaining 86 people. Now that's very dangerous. A country which is full of beggars is very dangerous. And that's where we are saying we must cut it down and make sure that people can get it. And that's why in agriculture, we're talking about cooperatives. Everybody what we grow, government will
Okay, thank you so much. You can find more details in the manifesto for the Forum for Democratic Change candidates. We're going to allow you to take a breather as we are getting reactions from the audience. We do have various sector leaders that are in our audience tonight. Amos Wekesa has joined us this evening, and he's been an ambassador of Uganda's tourism, so much so that he ended up setting up shop in a neighboring country simply because of the things that you, candidate Nandela Mafabi, are talking about. Amos Wekesa.
Good evening. I'm not a politician, so I don't know protocol very well. It's been thank you so much, NTV, for inviting me this evening. And thank you, presidential candidates, for very good insights that we've listened to this evening. Of course, I will be a little bit biased that Mr. Honorable Munti did a fantastic job in dissecting tourism. I was actually shocked that you related it to everything else, to security, to the market. Yeah, if 4 million tourists arrive Uganda, each of them will eat 2 eggs a day, and they spend an average of 8 days in the country. You just do the mathematics. An omelette, they will be willing to pay $10 for an omelette. You know, you just grow the economy instantly. I also say, when Honorable Chagulanyi, you had a very fantastic write-up in the manifesto about tourism. I was actually very impressed. I think my only concern is that it's not being sold well. I think we need to sell that dream. Yeah, it needs to be sold a little bit more. I also want to say that tourism, the reason why they say tourism is Uganda's lowest hanging fruit is because of the potential we have. The great weather, the mountains, the lakes, the rivers, the people, the culture. It's just so low. And then tourism this year earned the whole world about $10 trillion. But if you just remove the $10 trillion and put on the side and go just for sports tourism is one of the fastest growing sectors. And Ugandans are extremely very talented. It's just that a lot of them don't have the opportunity. This year, sports tourism earned $800 billion across the world. By 2032, it will be earning $2.2 trillion just by doing sports.
Amos Wekesa, in the words of the incumbent, therefore,
one of our biggest challenges as a country is that Uganda is not a brand. Every Ugandan must talk about this brand called Uganda. We're going to put the shelves out there. I would like to hear from the candidates what type of brand Uganda will be, because right now it's a brand which is partly majorly not known. If it's known, it's not known for the good things. What kind of positive brand can you guys put on the shelves in the world?
All right. Thank you so much, Amos Wekesa. We also do have Yvonne Mpambara that is on the floor this evening, and she too has reactions. Yvonne? Our online audience, please keep those questions coming. We're going to be turning to them a little bit later on Facebook, on X, as well as TikTok. We're also streaming live on our websites, NTV Uganda, as well as Daily Monitor. Yvonne?
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm glad that NTV has put a very spirited fight for us to be able to be at this debate. It's very unfortunate that we have 3 candidates that have shied away or cowered away. That's what I would call it. Because it's very key for majority of our presidential candidates to come here and put a spirited fight in terms of what they feel is the vision for Uganda. So I appreciate the candidates that have made that deliberate choice to be here, and Uganda does not take it for granted. So we see you. Thank you. It's becoming very, I would call it problematic from the kind of generations we come from, that, you know, the voter apathy in Uganda has gone high because Ugandans no longer believe in the systems. Not even elections. They don't believe in elections anymore. I feel that is one of the biggest problems, because we are going to sit on these platforms and talk and give the visions. Alternatively, majority of you have very good visions for this country, but we don't want to lie that Ugandans might not be listening because they've given up. What is the vision to make Ugandans believe again? Past just the normal words we put out, past the manifestos. Sometimes we are too lazy to read these things. I don't want to lie to you. So we don't see the vision from those booklets. We don't see what do we do to bring the hope back to Ugandans, that Uganda can transform and become a better country where all systems work, where we believe in the kind of leaders we are putting in place, where we are sure that we are all included. I'm seeing many men seated in front of us. What makes you think that the voices of women are included in the discussions you're having? These are tough questions, because we feel as good leaders, if you're going to cover for majority of the population, what is your fight? Is this largely about competition just for presidential, or you have an actual voice for saying we want all Ugandans included?
All right, thank you so much, Yvonne. I believe the candidates, you've gotten her point. Priva, I do believe you also do have a reaction for us in the House. To our audience on KFM and Dembe FM will also be coming to you. Equally, those of you that are streaming live on YouTube will be with you shortly. Priva.
Ms. Kasire, Evelyn Kent, talk to us. What do you have to ask?
Thank you so much. Evelyn Kent Kasire, candidate to Women MP Kampala, under need flag bearer. My question goes to Nandala Mafabi. In considering the high living costs in Kampala, what plan would you have, it being a city, to help Kampala people have a better life? And the second question is, at what point in time did you make up your mind to use money in your pocket as your slogan, considering we had presidential candidates, presidential candidate, Joseph Kavleta, who has been using the same slogan since the 2020 elections, and assuming he had been nominated, would the two of you still have carried the same slogan?
Thank you. There's another gentleman here. Please make your submission.
Thank you. My name is Agaba Mzora, and I'm from ANT Party. I'm also a candidate for Member of Parliament for Kampala Central, representing ANT. My question goes to Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi, and it relates to the recent confrontations his camp has had with Uganda Police and other related security agencies. It's quite unfortunate, because previously, especially people from the security sector have been telling us that Ugandans were telling them that elections are boring because there are no violent confrontations between political camps and the security people. But they were not pointing at which Ugandans were saying that. To me, I took it to be that it was from their mouth. And so, as we have progressed, we have seen that boredom go away.
Your question being?
But also, the question is, Mr. Kyagulanyi, when you are in Kawempe, there is a video attributed to you, telling your supporters that in Uganda, kati muri bayekera, mutambule mudeo wakanga bayekera, bwe mutuuka mukole ebikorwa ebyekiyekera.
All right.
Which means in English that you had told your supporters that you are rebels. As you go home, behave
Your
like rebels. When you reach home, act as rebels. Are those statements truly yours? And if true, what actually did you mean? Because we got different interpretations.
All right, thank you so much.
Of those statements.
You know, politicians speak a lot. So, gentlemen, this is my floor. I will have you continue that debate somewhere else. But your point has been duly received by the candidate that you're referring to. All right, Anwar Katamba, talk to me.
Oluzungu ennaku zino lwafuna ebigambo bingi. Njagala y'abooluganda balina ebigambo ebitonotono kubanga obudde butambudde. Waliwo enampisa erinnya njagala nnyo ebyokumpaana waana.
Let him first pick a candidate there, then we'll pick somebody else from
byonna bikole naye the man John Ken Ruchamuzi
neyanza nnyo NTV kino kyemukoze kiringa nga CNN kyeyakola mu America. Nze Kivumbi Ernest Benjamin njagala okubuuza ekibuuzo bakandidenti baffe just buli omu ayogere yes or no. Eggwanga lyaffe teribaddeewo na transition yonna eri peaceful emyaka gyonna. Singa omu ku mmwe akwata obuyinza mugenda kusonyiwa President Museveni ne famire ye ku lw'obulungi bw'eggwanga oba mugenda kumusiba?
Kale toyanza nnyo toyanze kanfuneyo ekiri mu mbeera ey'abannamawulire.
All right, let's keep the questions short and sweet and straight to the point. Let's hear from you.
Amannya nze Muwadanku Nnyingi, ndi mubaka wa Parliament ow'Ekyaddondo. Njagala okubuuza candidate Mugisha Muntu, Mabirizi, candidate Nandala, none yagambye okwogera mu Luganda. Candidate Bulira Frank. From the trend eri mu mawulire ne campaign nga zibadde zitambula, kiraga nti Abannayuganda abangi bajumbidde nnyo campaign rallies eza presidential candidate Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert. Submission zammwe namwe muwulikisenga abataagala Mwai Museveni. Kikyalimbudde okwegatta emabega wa candidate Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert. Musobola okwekomitinga kati mukirowoozaako nteekateeka zammwe ki bwe tuba nga twagala okweddiza obuyinza nga bannayuganda. Ndowooza njagala okuwulira tteeka yammwe ku kwegatta emabega wa candidate Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert alabise nga yasinze obuwagizi mu public ne mu rallies.
Honorable Muwadda. Anwar Katamba lindako. Anwar Katamba noonyeza omwami John Ken Ruchamuzi. Then Privan noonyeza omwami gwe bayita Johnson Mayamba. Those will be the two questions we'll take on the floor. Then we will allow our candidates to respond to each one of them. Thereafter, we'll go to our online audience and also give them a chance to interact with their candidate. Presidential debate, RUS 2 2026 elections.
Thank you very much. My name is John Ken Ruchamuzi, the man. First of all, I would like to thank the NTV establishment for this wonderful organization of a debate of this magnitude. I'm making a comment from an intellectual viewpoint with reference to two presidential candidates, namely Owekitiibwa Mabirizi and Owekitiibwa Bulira. You have made a significant point with reference to your comments on federalism. One of the reasons why Uganda should go in for federal system of government is related to the gross mismanagement of Uganda today. Government is in shambles. If we don't pray very hard, even a military takeover could come in. So when the regions share powers.
Honorable ekibuuzo kye kiriwa?
Yeah. No, I'm making a comment.
No, oh, you're making a comment?
Yes.
Okay.
When the regions share security powers with the center, and well knowing that Article 1 of the Constitution says power belongs to the people, by sharing that power on security, will reduce the gross expenditure we are giving to President Museveni and his family. A lot of money we are paying all is directed to security. Will insecurity not end? Shall we keep on being...
Thank you so much, Honorable. That's a question.
So,
that is a comment for all of us to ponder.
The regions need that power because under the federal system of government, power checks power. Power from the region checks the State House, for example. But the district has no capacity to check State House on corruption. I hope you understand.
Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you so much.
Let's listen from Johnson.
Thank you so much. My name is Johnson Mayamba. I am a journalist. It said democracy dies in darkness. We have covered this presidential campaign. We are covering the trail. We are covering the debate. And on a daily, a journalist is hurt. In all your manifestos, we've not had ourselves in them. What are your plans for the fourth estate? Thank you.
All right. Many questions, 5 of you. I will start with Gregory Mugisha Muntu. Responses to the House.
To all the questions?
Yes, please, to the ones that were directed to you and you feel you owe them an answer.
Okay. Thank you. I think one which was specific was from Honorable Nkunyinji Muwada, because he was asking whether we are ready to go behind Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi. Well, we are always open to discussions as Alliance for National Transformation, but we've also had experiences in the politics of this country. It depends on the basis on which one would make the conclusions that the country has made a decision. Because I've been in a party called Forum for Democratic Change, and I know that in 2011, 2016, we generated crowds that I have not yet seen in this country. Unfortunately, we didn't take power. So I always know, and I've always spoken out, it's not something that I hide, that winning is one thing, taking power is another. You have to have 2 different strategies for both. So if we are to sit and agree on the strategies for both, rearrangements could be made. I have no problem with that. Thank you. I think Yvonne talked about the raising of hope. I think all Ugandans really want to see a better future, need to invest in the raising of hope. And there are many Ugandans, men and women, who have got spheres of influence through which they can raise that hope in the people who are around them. We can't stop speaking. We are in a dark period, there's no doubt about that. But in every dark cloud, as you say, there's always a silver lining. So every Ugandan who recognizes that anything that loses hope starts dying must participate in that. You can't just leave it on the candidates. We must keep on resustaining the hope within our people, because if there is absolute loss of hope, like I noticed when you go up country, then the future will really be very, very bleak. Do everything humanly possible to talk to people, to tell them that things always change. There is always a turning point. Even us, we will get that turning point. But we all must focus to a future that is better than what we're experiencing and work, invest into it. There's no way a better future is going to fall like rain, which unfortunately seems to be what most people hope or expect that is going to happen, that you leave it to just 8 people roving all over the country. No, 7, not 8. 7 is already, a different category. Is the one who want to throw out of power. So the 7 of us, you can't say we are the one, we can't be the only ones who raise hope. There are many more Ugandans who can discuss these issues on the dining table, in the taxis, in the borders, wherever they are, because hope is what sustains us as a people. The moment you lose hope, you start dying. Wekesa Amos, thank you for recognizing our understanding of what the potential for tourism is, because I can't even understand why anybody who seriously looks at growing an economy cannot look at tourism as one of the focal areas for investment. Uganda have not even tapped beyond 30% of the potential that we do have. If we had time, we would go into details in regard to that. And well, the colleague from NT, it's unfortunate that you asked that question. You know how this regime manipulates information, manipulates people. So we stand with Honorable Kyagulanyi in all the things he's doing. It's unfortunate that the security services are really focused on breaking the crowds which they do have, which they used to do to our candidate in FDC when we were there. They have a way of trying to do things in such a way that they cause clashes within the opposition forces. We will not allow that, even when we are separate, even when we are running different campaigns. We will stand together against the tyranny of the regime.
All right, thank you so much. The rules of engagement still remain the same. Each candidate has 4 minutes to respond to all the questions from the floor. We'll go to the next candidate, Frank Bulira.
Thank you so much. I'll try to be very fast. First of all, I didn't say that I want to speak in Luganda. I just said I want to reduce the English. That is the #1 problem of this country. We want to liberate this country. Not speaking a lot of English. It won't help us. First and foremost, Madam Yvonne, thank you so much. Voter apathy is majorly because of loss of hope. It is with the opposition, apparently, that has to give hope to the majority of Ugandans on the opposition. As we speak, the opposition is only looking at how many members of parliament shall we get in order to get more iPod money, not removing Mr. Museveni. That is why, as the RPP, we have not even positioned any single candidate for MP, because people are just looking at getting 50 million because they lost hope. They think and believe that Mr. Museveni cannot go. So they say, Nange kangabanireko wano, let me get a call 300 million. With Mr. Museveni, God will decide. That is the problem. We, the opposition, we are now the problem of the country. People are looking for iPod money. For us, we are not looking for iPod money. Dr. Kiyingi left a great foundation for our party. That is the reason as to why we are looking at removing Mr. Museveni and bringing back sanity in the Pearl of Africa. So, the opposition is majorly contributing on loss of hope and voter apathy. People have lost hope. But I know when I become president of the Republic of Uganda, all MPs from the different parties will join me. They will cross over. I could not waste a lot of efforts and money putting in funding presidential candidates, parliamentary candidates, because the major focus is removing Mr. Museveni and everything will go into the straight line by itself. Secondly, Honorable Mwadanku Nyingi, thank you so much. I respect you, comrade. You talked of coalition or getting behind Honorable Kyagulanyi. I appreciate Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi's role in bringing this struggle where it is. But what you should know, Honorable, is that this struggle started way back from the Kairas, the Dr. Semogerere. Dr. Semogerere in 1996 had the biggest crowd, which we have not seen. Hajina Jege Sebagala had a crowd, a 1 million march. He didn't even smell at presidency. Retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besigye. Go and look at the footage of the rallies Dr. Semogerere had. Dr. Kiza Besigye had. Dr. Besigye has not delivered us to Canaan. It's unfortunate. The crowds are important, but it has to be a guided crowd with a focus, as General said. That is the reason as to why Dr. Kiyingi was not staying in Uganda and was feared more than the people who are sleeping here in Wakiso, because Mr. Museveni knows he will contain them at the end of the day. They are not even focusing at presidency. We are looking at removing Mr. Museveni. In fact, I would be the person the Honorable Kyagulanyi would rather behind. I don't want Ugandans to be disappointed again, and at the end, they tell you, I'm the solution to this country. Don't expect me to tell you, we have all the plans from A to Z. I inherited Dr. Aggrey Kiyingi politically. I have all the contacts and the networks. That is the reason as to why my campaign has started late. Many people have been asking why I have not been campaigning. It's not deliberate. My accounts were frozen. All our funders were intimidated. Mr. Museveni called Sheikh Maktoum, the king of Dubai, and told him, unless you are opening up UAE and Uganda, don't support this guy of Dr. Kiyingi, because he knows Dr. Kiyingi has investments in UAE. President Hakainde Hichilema of Zambia was intimidated. My container of T-shirts from China was confiscated.
Candidate Frank Bulira, the good news is that
they should all come behind me. I'm the only person to redeem this country.
Thank you very much. And the good news is that you're seated next to the man himself, Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. What saith you to the responses that have been presented on the floor this evening?
My response would be thank you very much, Mildred. I feel at loss because as a present victim of security, I did not get opportunity to be asked for a comment about security, and as a way of blocking and bridging, you would allow me just wrap very quickly my comment on security. And it all goes back to state capture, because that is the problem. Every institution of state is captured, including the military. Unfortunately, it's the military that is being used to capture the rest of Ugandans. The question of the military was settled way back in 1995 when the current constitution was promulgated. And Article 208 of the current constitution is to the effect that the UPDF shall be non-partisan, the UPDF shall be national in character, and the UPDF shall be subordinate to civilian authority. Unfortunately, that law is nothing more than the paper on which it's written. Now, the UPDF is reduced to a tool of oppression. It has been said before that there are no bad soldiers, there are only bad commanders. And the statement is true with the UPDF, because now you will notice that the problem begins with the appointments. The appointments are done according to relationship, and sadly, according to DNA. You have seen police officers, military officers coming out to make political statements against the law, and nothing happens. You saw Brigadier called Okidi. You have seen General Museveni's son making political statements, and nothing has happened, and the list is endless. Our plan for the military, first and foremost, because they are desperate as well, they need to be paid right in order for the right thing to be demanded of them. And we've made it clear as a national unity platform that we shall ensure that our men and women in uniform, both in the UPDF and police, are well paid, and they will be demanded to respect the people of Uganda. There should be a strict code of conduct. Recruitment and promotion shall be done on merit. And also, it's very, very important for me, on behalf of the National Unity Platform, to commit that while I'm president, I will never, ever use the military or the police to play politics. Now, having made that comment, allow me very quickly to respond to the questions I heard from Wakesa, and I appreciate your efforts and your contribution to the tourism industry. But we must understand that it all begins and ends with governance. Just go to Google and type in Uganda. Imagine you're outside Uganda and type in Uganda. You'll see what it brings to you. Will that be reason for you to tour Uganda? So it is not us to create an image or a brand of Uganda. The brand of Uganda is being messed by those that are in power, and it is upon us to remove them from power so that we can present a good brand. Uganda is one of the most beautiful countries in the world, and our tourism potential is robust, but it is being messed by those that are in power, because what matters to them is not what the country gets. The main occupation of the state in Uganda is regime survival, not serving the country, not developing the country, not developing any sector. My brother from ANT mentioned that I said, yes, I said that. I've said it many times. I'm saying it right now. I'm a rebel, but I'm a legitimate rebel. You've seen the president of the Uganda Law Society calling himself a legal rebel. I'm a legitimate rebel. I'm just like the Museveni of the 1980s, only that we are non-violent. That's the difference. Okay, we are within the law, we are non-violent, but we are rebels. We operate like rebels.
Allow me to just stick to what you were talking about.
Yes, please.
There's a question here from Mr. Chigongo, and he's asking, what are your plans towards bolstering multilateralism as well as bilateral relations?
Present yourselves as Ugandans. Let us present Uganda on the same moral standard with our country, with other countries. We want to relate with Kenya. Kenya has a semblance of democracy. We want to relate with democracies, but we are bringing dictatorship to them. Let us level up. Let us have the moral standard. Let us be on the same moral standard with other countries, and we are going to be respected. Now we are not respected, we are only feared.
Okay, thank you very much.
And you did not allow me to...
I'll be returning to you shortly. Right, just you can hold that one. I'll be coming back to you. Candidate Nandala Mafabi, there were questions for you in the room. What saith thee?
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, with tourism, my take on that, one, of course, security is important. Tourism cannot come here when it is secure. Number two, we should invest more in infrastructure, the roads, network, and this tourism, of course. Me, I would even go further to talk about the rail line. We need to put back our rail line to deal with most of the things we talk about. Also, the press, we should have a positive press. Voter apathy, yes, it is there, but a thief cannot chase you from your chamber. You must make sure you work in the chamber until you arrest him or her. My proposal to voters, kindly read our manifestos, see which one is the best, and go vote, because one day we shall make it. Amin said that if the referee is biased, when you are playing football, make sure you score a goal where even the blind sees that it has entered, so that it cuts the net and everybody confirms. I think this coming election, if we all voted and voted NRM out, everybody would see, even if Yamakama will have nothing to say. High cost of living in Kampala, everybody know high cost of living is everywhere. I think because you stay in Kampala, maybe people can even afford something, but people are going without anything for weeks. So I want to assure you that high cost of living is a result of cost of production. We have high taxes, we have high cost of production. Now we have talked about electricity, it's very expensive, and that's why electricity is one of the catalyzers to make production. Water, mention it, and in Uganda, the tax exemption are given to foreigners. So we are the one who bear the burden for foreigners instead of the Ugandans. Corruption is also another cost, because when the costs are, taxes have to be put there to tax you, so that they're able to cater for the corruption of the 10 trillion. You said, I copied your motto, no. We said fixing the economy, money in our pockets. I don't know if yours is like that. But I'll also give you an example. Busoga College, where I went from, when I started from, it says, Kurakatonda negwanga lyaffe, for God and our country. And the motto of Uganda is for God and my country. Should we also say that Uganda copied from Busoga College? On issues of Museveni, you see, for us, we're in this campaign we're not in for hate, we're not acting anyone. What Museveni has done. His 40 years are over. We need to move on. What he has failed to do is what we are saying. It is us to fix it. So we are bringing unity. We need to reconcile this country. We need truth-telling, and this country must move forward. Museveni is just one individual. The country is bigger than Museveni. So for me, I believe we need to have our country united, and should we forgive him, there will be truth-telling. Nkunyinji, you said we should join hands. Everybody knows how to mobilize. For you, you may be mobilizing using music. We don't have music. You may be mobilizing by carrying like Museveni. We don't carry. For us to go to villages. So there's no measuring tool that you are the best. I think we have to wait until the D-Day. That will be the determining factor.
All right, thank you so much.
Just a small one. The press, we are sorry the press being hurt. We feel bad about it. And of course, even this is where I want to make a comment that I think the state should come out clearly. We need EC to come clear about this because there should be fair play. We don't want any candidate to be, his or her supporters be hurt. We need each electoral commission should take charge of the election. But I also had the electoral commission chairman saying after voting, everybody should leave the polling station. I thought this gentleman was a judge. When I look at the rules, the Presidential and Parliamentary Elections Act, it's clear says that after voting, a person should stay 20 meters from the polling station. Is that the same way by saying people should go home? That shows there's lack of people of understanding in this country, and these are the people who are going to be the referees. We want to pray to God that they learn the law and understand it. What do you want to do at the polling station by chasing people? You must be wanting to steal. Let him come out clear to tell us.
All right, thank you so much. Mr. Joseph Mabirizi.
Number one, I want to arrest the fears of voters where they have given up elections. We have got solutions. Have been working on this for 12 years. We know very well that there is vote rigging and so forth. So number one thing that we've done is educating Ugandans about the army we have and their rights, the constitutional rights. When you add the policemen and the soldiers, we have 106,000 soldiermen or gunmen. And the recent census which was carried out, we are over 45 million. And they did not come to my home. So we have already mobilized people who are more than 3 million. If Justice Byabakama decides to announce any other person giving our win to another person, then the 3 million people, us who are not cowards, we shall raise and fight against that. Secondly, we have offered a safe landing for the predecessor to be. And we have already written to him. That's also very important. Then Ugandans getting to know that this is the number of army we have. If anybody violates the constitution, we have to raise. That is very important. And whenever we have gone in this nation, we have carried out baton campaign along with mock elections whenever we go. And that has helped Ugandans to know that the current regime has no support, because whenever we go, we get the ballots, people vote, and there is no place where this regime has got more than 4 votes. So that one is already now known. There was a question about the journalists. You are covered. Once there is good governance, you don't face all what you are facing today. Then when it comes to the question about joining Kyagulanyi, I sat with Mr. Kyagulanyi Slice in his house. Then from there, I wrote to him twice. I'm born again. We sat in your house. You don't recall me coming to your house in Magere? You have forgotten? So I did. I'm born again. And I have written to these presidential candidates about joining hands. They endorsed, they received the letters. They didn't turn up. So what do you want me to do? Then another thing, these people opt for going to courts of law, yet we know that the courts, they are in the hands of just one man. Then they are promoting the governance which is the same as the one we have. For us, we advocate for federalism. So our plans are so different. That's why we cannot join anybody.
All right. To all the 5 candidates on the floor, as we're looking to our social media platforms and getting questions from the online audience, we also have a desire to hear from you on sectors that have shown immense potential, but yet they are still not given that much attention. Sports is one of them. The creative industry is another one. And of course, some people have not had responses of candidates regarding protection mechanisms for the fourth estate. That being said, as you prepare your responses, turning to our social media platforms, someone has put a crying emoji and said, but help me. As Uganda started out as a federal state, but the system collapsed. Nigeria is currently also running on a federalism, but it is constantly facing ethnic, religious, and regional clashes. How different is the federal system they are suggesting? And of course, that is to candidate Burira. Then we also do have on X Okello George, who says, given Uganda's history of contested elections and past allegations of electoral violence and media suppression, what concrete viable steps will you take as a candidate to guarantee a free, fair, transparent and peaceful election, including protection of opposition, free speech and unbiased media coverage? This is in the case that you are the president at that opportune time. We also do have Rango3_8 on X says, Uganda has one of the youngest populations in the world. What is your vision for empowering youth to lead in innovation, youth to lead in politics, and youth to lead in entrepreneurship? How will you engage young people in decision-making processes? And I'm going to take the final one from X. I am Sami says, 1, how do you plan to leverage technology to boost Uganda's economy and improve the lives of citizens? 2, what strategies would you implement to increase access to digital services, especially in rural areas? Giving you a minute to digest those. Thank you so much to our online audience. The hashtag to follow is NTV Presidential Debate 2025. And as we do so, we are also streaming live on Facebook, on X, YouTube, as well as our website, that is NTV Uganda and Daily Monitor. Our audience on KFM and Dembe FM, thank you so much for being with us. I believe our candidates are now ready. I'll start with candidate Bugisha.
The areas which have high potential but where there hasn't been adequate investment, as they have indicated, like in sports, like in the creative industry. The unfortunate thing is that that process really starts from primary education. Our primary education, the foundation of our primary education system is not being well designed, because you get to understand the different intelligences of the different people between 5 years to 10 years. That's where you get to understand how people have been wired different. We have concentrated more on the academics, and therefore many people who have got talent, like who could be the best of sports persons if there was investment in them, those who are in the creatives, those who can use hands for their skills, is lost at that point. We would have to redesign that. So that the moment you detect that someone is talented in sports or in the creatives or in skills in using their hands, then as they go through the academics, but you specifically invest in those and put their specific institutions at a higher level, that would make them international grade in whatever they are doing. And that helps in many, many ways, because we have seen sports persons, like in countries where they are in the long distance running, or like who are boxers, or like who are good footballers, become almost adverts for their countries, or those who are in music, and also in terms of creating jobs once they expand the industries in wherever they are. So that requires people first who understand that. Unfortunately, this regime seems not to understand that. We do understand it, and therefore, if it's the will of God and people trust us, it is one area which we will invest in heavily. Why? Because human beings, the way we are created, the only way you can enjoy your life on this planet is not just because you get money, but when you do things in which you are wired to do, fulfilling what is being
all right, thank you so much. Frank Mulira.
Thank you very much. I will try to be fast. First of all, on the case study of Nigeria that you were giving, I think that is an isolated case. I need you to also look at other countries that are being run on the federal system of governance vis-a-vis other countries which are not moving under the same system of governance. Then, looking at the issue of creative industry, I think here there is a big weakness by this government, especially in promoting talent. I don't know whether they are just selfish or I don't know. It's like these people were just imported and they are in a wrong country, governing a wrong country. It's like they are just passing through Uganda, going somewhere. Because of late I saw the She Cranes trying to fundraise for money to buy air tickets. She Cranes, they are representing Uganda. Can you imagine? Going to businessmen, Ham and others, looking for money, upkeep. And you see people kneeling down before Mr. Museveni in the State House, getting sacks and sacks of money for self-enrichment. And you think you are promoting talent in a country. I've seen money being embezzled in the National Council of Sports. But when you go to the Rigogo Cricket Oval, it is really in a sorry state. I was still... it's okay.
Thank you for that. Mr. Jagulanyi, you're next. 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. I always reiterate that the problem is about governance. And if we fix the government question, everything will flow. But before we fix the government question, everything, every resource in Uganda is going to be reduced to regime survival, from public to private. Now, I'll tell you that I come from the creative industry, and I know how robust that industry is. But as we speak right now, I'm an artist, but without quoting any law, I was banned from performing my profession. Just a few days ago, a renowned artist called King Saha was blocked from performing, from having a concert, not knowing that when you block an artist like that, you're denying thousands employment. So the regime that we have here does not care about anything. All it cares about is regime survival. We must remember that the few times Uganda shined internationally, it has been either because of sports or because of creatives. When we get the gold medals, or when our artists shine internationally. Unfortunately, even the creative industry has been captured today. You notice that we have a member of parliament who is an artist called Dr. Hildeman. He presented a copyright amendment bill. It was sat on by the regime because it empowers the creatives to be rich, to be productive, and to be able to employ other people. Very quickly, in our manifesto, we present the 4 A's because we want to build the creative industry right from school, right from childhood. We have a generation now that has not gone to school. It is unemployed and unemployable. We are grappling with it. But we have a new Uganda, a young Uganda that's coming, and we have to plan for it. And we're beginning this from school. We have 4 A's, that is the academics, the arts, the athletics, and agriculture. Now, leave alone the academics. Let's talk about the second A, that is the arts. In the arts, if we start focusing and investing and prioritizing the arts, you'll get thousands, if not millions of Bobby Wines. I am an artist. I came from that line. I was able to guide myself. And it is that benchmark, it is that example that we want to bring and use in the schools, the same way with sports and all other areas.
All right, Nandala Mafabi Nathan.
Thank you so much. I forgot something about Evelyn. How do you reduce cost of living? You reduce cost of production, you reduce taxes, you expand the tax base, and remove tax exemption to foreigners. You will find that the cost of production goes down and the cost of living will be lower. Sports facilities, we have it in our manifesto. For us, we believe the Achibwe here, the Dockers here, is it in school? If they had no facility, if they had better facility, there are more people here. That's why we're saying we need to put stadiums in every sub-region, and we are saying that at every sub-county there must be a real same facility to deal with sports. I'm not good at it, but we need to promote people's talents. If they're artists, they should be able to be promoted. I agree this should be taught from primary going upward. Like sports also, they should start from primary. Youth, we have a plan of youth. For us, we are talking about enterprises. If you read our manifesto, it's very clear how we plan. We are saying every graduate, when he's living at the gate, will be handed 1 million shillings to start life. And when he doesn't have any job within 6 months, there will be enterprises to be set up, which the youth will manage, and they will be able to create jobs for others. They are very clear, and we're looking more in agriculture, in ICT, because now this is the current one. Because if we talk about technology, digital platforms are really most important. But unfortunately, the internet is too expensive. I'm sure it might be the most expensive in the world. But in most countries, the internet now is so, even on the streets, the internet free, where they should access. Currently, for example, most multinationals are using the youth, giving them jobs. Let me give an example. Like you get a multinational, say, auditing, preparing my accounts. You get a youth in India, are the one preparing, and they are using dictators, and are being paid, are being employed. And for me, ICT is one of the most important things to also create jobs. On violence during elections.
All right, you can keep the rest for closing remarks. Each candidate will be given 5 minutes to close this debate and to say one last word to the voter, the constituency, 45.9 million Ugandans. Let's have a response from Mr. Joseph Mavidizi.
Youth empowerment. Let me talk about youth empowerment. It starts with education. We need to overhaul the education system to come up with the education which fits our needs. Today, the education we have, it doesn't benefit.
There's a microphone that is on. Let's switch it off. Thank you.
Yes, it's on. It doesn't benefit those ones who pay school fees, the parents, neither the children. So we have a committee. It's already working upon that. We want to have a new system of education which can benefit Ugandans. Secondly, we are planning to give free internet services right away from May next year, so that will no longer be a problem to Ugandans. Then we want to use both the transferred technology and also the local one. It will help us in innovation, skilling, hence job creation, which I have so many opportunities of employment for unemployed. Then injecting more money in creative industry. That one will help a lot because it has become a job when you talk about music and drama, when you talk about sports. So we aim at injecting more money in those sectors. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. As we wrap up, allow me to hand over to all the 5 candidates, 5 minutes each, to give us their closing remarks and reflections and what they plan for this country, in case you missed anything out. Sadly, we do not have enough time. We planned to touch on economics and finance, but maybe you can squeeze all of that in those 5 minutes. I know it's brief, but over to you. Candidate Muntu, could you please start us off? Thank you.
General Museveni is going to leave us a broken country, deep in debt, lawlessness, frightening levels of poverty. All systems and institutions have been broken down. There's almost nothing which can check power. The culture of the people who have so lost hope to the point that ordinary people are selling themselves for 5,000 shillings. Leaders are being bought at a higher rate, maybe 50 million, 100 million. That's the state of affairs that we do have in this country. We are growing in terms of population increase. We have 47 million people. Another 25 years, we'll have hit 100 million people. We are going to face a larger crisis if there's no change of leadership. Also, too, the nature of change. Because we have had 63 years of leaders who go in there and they all almost do the same thing, continue moving the same direction. So there must be something up there which most people may not understand. There's absolutely no reason why 9 presidents can all go in giving promises and within a few years they all get drunk with power. What I promise the Ugandan people is 1, integrity, resoluteness in standing by what I've believed in since I was 23 years old. I am a man of his word. What I tell you today is what I tell you tomorrow. I am resilient. I've been tested, not just by money, which was unchecked. There were no systems in the army. When I commanded the army, I established the systems of managing national resources. I believe in equality before the law. I believe in justice. I believe in equal opportunities. Everywhere where I've been, I have ensured that I practice what I talk about. Therefore, consistency is very, very important. And more so, I project myself based on my track record. So, if it's the will of God and the people of Uganda trust me as I ask them to, it's not that I'm going to be tested. I've already been tested. Money, power, and high office has been the Waterloo for many, many leaders. Talk is cheap, Americans say. Where we are at, a broken down country, where it requires rebuilding of systems, reestablishment of functioning institutions, requires someone who has the character that by God's grace I do have. I work in teams. I am good at managing teams, at selection and managing teams. Understand the challenges we do have as a country. The future, if it's going to be different in terms of culture, in terms of direction, is not going to be easy sailing. It requires a resoluteness and determination, for example, to fight corruption. Is not an easy job because there are going to be counter forces that are going to fight, domestic as well as foreign. It requires management of national security services, the army, police, and internal security services, which require sophisticated management. In the manner where we are now, we are in a very, very precarious situation. Let me give just one example. The nature, the frightening situation that we are in. There is a constitution. Everybody knows that if the president was going to a coma, the vice president would take over. I have asked in 8 districts where I have been that experience. I tell them, who of you believe that if General 7 was sliding into a coma, that Honorable, the Vice President,
you need the name? Jessica Lupo?
Jessica Lupo. She's a colleague, she was in the army. So Honorable Jessica Alupo, that would take over. And people look at me as if I've just fallen from space. I have not seen anywhere where they raise their arm. And I've been asking publicly, because I'm not able to access those who are in security services, but for them to take a cue to look that as a red flag. If something is in the Constitution, and every Ugandan knows that we are going towards a transition, one way or the other, and you have a situation where people don't even believe in what is in that Constitution, to those who are in security services, those who are in government, need to know that there is a problem in this country and it needs to be handled, because we are 47 million people. General 7 is one individual. The security of the country cannot be tagged on one human being. I keep asking people, because there are those who say if General 7 goes, that the country can easily go down. I ask them, if God recalled him tonight, would he go with the country? Of course they say no, he won't go with the country. Therefore we need to deal with the country. What needs to be done? And that requires experience, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I ask for trust from the Ugandan people. And I always keep telling them, whatever we will sow is what we will reap.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Candidate Muntu. Over to you, Candidate Bulira.
Thank you very much. Dear Ugandans, as we close up this debate, it is a memorable debate that it may be the last time you're seeing me here as an ordinary Ugandan. In the new Federal Democratic Republic of Uganda, starting next year, 15th, just be rest assured all will be in peace. I'm just going to highlight on what we plan as the RPP. I'm staying focused. What we are planning for a new Uganda. We want a new Uganda under the federal system, period. The rest will be sorted. First and foremost, let's also look at our brothers and sisters who are working in the diasporas and living out there. The Kadamas. Instead of we as politicians just going to have selfies with the Kadamas in Dubai and Saudi, we need to help them. They are contributing, bringing in a lot of remittances yearly to this country, contributing to our economy. These Kadamas are being harassed. These are our sisters and mothers. They are sleeping at Banias Square. They are sleeping on empty stomachs. They are being raped, but government is quiet. Even the opposition is quiet. It's just having selfies with them, politicking. I'm here to help the Kadamas. I'm their hope. I've lived with them. Dr. Chinja has helped many of them. So, just as the government of Philippines did, they sat with the Sultan of Qatar, they sat with the President of UAE and said every Filipino who is working in UAE must not be paid less than $500, or else he or she goes back to Philippines. And as we speak, Filipinos are in heaven in Dubai, and Ugandans are sleeping on the streets and in the bed spaces. Much as even there are Filipinos sleeping in the bed spaces, but they are living a higher life. Yet Uganda is far more developed than the Philippines. It goes back to governance. We don't have leadership. We don't have leadership. As a president, I'm going to sit with Sheikh Al Maktoum and we negotiate on the issues of, the issue of Ugandans working in the UAE, in Saudi Arabia, Qatari, Turkey, and all other countries in the Middle East and the entire Gulf. We need to save our sisters. On a serious note, money is coming from those brothers and sisters, contributes a lot to the country's economy. On the issue of tourism, I had earlier sat with some sheikhs in UAE and Dubai municipality, plus using the contacts of Dr. Chinji since he had shares in Emirates. And we wanted, they had done a survey that Entebbe International Airport has the best terrain for a nice airport. And they were suggesting with the government to have Entebbe International Airport as the base or headquarters of Emirates in Africa. Mr. Museveni refused this simply because they wanted to employ workers on UAE standards, being paid highly, and UAE directly being involved in the recruitment of Ugandan workers. Look at that selfishness. Up to now, that project was put on hold. We don't have an airport. We are the only country which doesn't have an airport. Recently, Mama Nyerere was locked up in a lift in Entebbe International Airport. That's when Mr. Museveni came out to pretend like he's chasing workers at Entebbe International Airport. It is the only airport where these electric stairs don't work. They only put them on when they are international guests. Even poor countries like Zambia and Malawi have real airports. We don't have an airport. And it is the gateway to the country. It is the gateway to the tourists. We want to put down this airport, and we have a reasonable airport. In fact, it's even going to be named Sir Edward Mutesa International Airport. From Entebbe is meaningless. All countries, when you go to Kenya, their main airport is the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Their founding father. Go to Malawi, it is the Kamuzu Banda International Airport. In Tanzania, it is Julius Nyerere International Airport. Oliver Tambo International Airport in Johannesburg. It's only Uganda selfishly remaining with the name Entebbe just because Mr. Museveni doesn't even want to remember the founding fathers, the first presidents, the Obotes who brought about the independence of this country. We are going to construct Wesley Mumbere Airport in Kasese and Omukama Chebambe Airport in Fort Portal Tourism City.
Thank you, Mr.
Oh, I was just starting.
You'll start when they
I've not even reached in the middle.
You'll start when they elect you on the 15th.
Oh, Ugandans need this.
All right, so we get to also receive closing remarks from Honorable Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. Our fellow Ugandans, at a time when our nation is at crossroads, at a time when all institutions of state are under capture, including the judiciary, a time when a judge sits to adjudicate, to decide a case, has not to look at what the law says, but consider what General Museveni wants. At a time when appointment of judges is by a person and yet is supposed to be by the Judicial Service Commission, a time when even a justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Chisache, is in exile because she fears for her life, having disagreed with the status quo. A time when political leaders are in jail, people like Dr. Kizza Besigye for no case whatsoever, where citizens are tortured on camera by those that are supposed to protect them. A time where social media is blocked. Facebook, as we speak right now, is blocked just because one person does not like it. A time when laws are applied selectively, where some people are in prison for apparently being charged for computer misuse. And yet, as a person standing right here, I'm a victim of harassment and threats by the highest official in the military, threatening to behead me. In a time where a country is completely captured, I want you to know that a new Uganda is possible. A new Uganda can come, and it's by you and me. Ladies and gentlemen, I come to you as a typical Ugandan. I've grown up in your faces. I've grown up from the lowest of society to here where I am today. I am a symbol of resilience, a symbol of discipline. I came from the ghetto, the worst of character, but to be that I'm a happily and decently married man, well educated and all that, that speaks of my character. Ladies and gentlemen, I present myself to this generation, to unite this generation, to uplift uplift this generation, to stop tribalism, to unite the country. And with your support, with your endorsement, I am sure we can all change Uganda. I've said it before and I say it again. I don't present myself as the most capable or the most educated or the oldest or the most experienced, but the most committed to lead this generation out of slavery. When you vote for me, when you vote for the National Unity Platform, you'll be voting to end 40 years of dictatorship. You will be voting for servant leadership. I present myself not as a boss, but as a servant. And most importantly, we as a nation will be able to march forward together. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, please remember that we have an opportunity to redefine our history, an opportunity to start over again. This opportunity is coming on the 15th of January to end the hate, to end the historical injustices, to end tribalism, and to rebuild our country. I am sure Ugandans, especially the young ones, love each other. They want to live together, but they are stuck in the past. It is our opportunity to unchain and unhinge and move forward. Therefore, I call upon all of you to vote for me. Yes, I have the highest respect for all these contenders right here, but I'm the best choice. The people of Uganda have shown it to you. It is only a pretender that will not agree that the person elected to be president of Uganda in 2021 was Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert. The people of Uganda have consistently shown it to you, from the north to the south, from the east to the west. None of the candidates can win me in an election, even in their own backyard. Therefore, I might fail to convince them to join the winning team. But you, the people of Uganda, have always taken a lead. You have led us. Please lead us. Let us liberate our country, and forever we shall end this slavery. I thank you for God and my country.
All right. Let's have order in the room. We do have other candidates that are worthy of their time. And now turning to candidate Nandela Mafabi Nathan for your closing remarks.
Thank you so much. I come in this election, as I stated from the beginning, to fix the economy, and we have money in our pockets. I heard my colleague was asking that I copied their motto. I've been reminded there is money in your pocket. For us, I say money in our pockets. The country we're in right now, the main issue we have is greed. That's corruption, which is a cost, a big cost to this country. It's the one which is making cost of production go high. It's the one which is making the country of people to be overtaxed. And the moment we stop this will mean we're going to reduce the taxes. And the moment the taxes are reduced, there will be more money at your disposal for consumption, and the layer living will be better. Two, we come with a plan to invest in productive sectors. And that's why we're saying our budget, 10% of the budget will go to agriculture. And the moment the agriculture is up there, bring back the cooperatives, which I come with an experience from Reduced Cooperative Union, because one of those which had been taken away, and now it is there thriving. We believe people will be able to market their produce from their cooperative societies, like cotton, like tea, like coffee, like tobacco, even cassava. Right now, cassava is the one which is leading in starch. And 1 kilo of starch, $360. That's about 1,400. We used to have a factory for starch in Lila. It was destroyed. And we believe if we grow cassava, we shall make money in starch. So, in this process, we're going to create jobs. And the moment we create jobs, people will have money, because then they will have capacity to buy goods and services. I come here with experience in the area of economics, in the area of accountability, in the area of financial management, in the area of taxation. And I know how poverty is painful. I come from a village. I studied from a village school until I reached Busoga College, Mwiri. But by then in education, you never needed to be in town to be able to go to a good school. You needed to be in a village and you'll go to a good school. And that's why we're saying we must revamp our education system so that we go back to the basics. so that Ugandans can access good education and be able to lead a better life and develop themselves. In this election, I know we have many candidates, but the problem now is not anything. It's about people suffering because of poverty. The moment we resolve poverty, insecurity will go down. The moment we resolve employment, people will be better lives. I am here. I understand what you go through. Every village, there's a money lender. A money lender who is charging our mothers and fathers very expensive with the knowledge of government. This is very dangerous. How do you charge somebody 50% per month on a loan of limited, just a small loan? This is going to end because people are suffering daily, and that's why we come with a big investment in the financial sector. We'll return back the cooperative bank, which is in the law, and this is the one which is going to help cooperators. We'll bring the agriculture bank, which is also going to help the farmers. And whatever you grow, if it cannot be sold there and then, it will be put in silos. Government is going to put drivers which are going to stimulate this growth, and the government should lead in this process. We are going to ensure the economy belongs to Ugandans. Our economy currently is for foreigners. The telecom sector belongs to foreigners. The construction sector belongs to foreigners. We believe Ugandans should be the one to lead. I will give an example. To construct a road, all 95% of the materials are from Uganda. The stones, the cement, the sand, the water, and the laborers. Why would a road in Uganda, 1 kilometer, cost money which can make 20 kilometers? It's because of corruption. Corruption must be dealt fully, without fear or favor, and we shall lead by examples to ensure that justice is done without fear or favor. The judiciary should be a judiciary which should be there to do work, not to do political judgments, not to really sit on cases, and if you cannot work, in my time, you'll not be in that judiciary. Because justice delayed is justice denied, and this cannot be acceptable. I look forward, if you lend me your vote, I am the best candidate of all the 8 candidates, because our problem now is poverty, which needs to be resolved.
Thank you for that. And our final candidate, Mr. Mavidis.
Thank you so much. I'll speak few words so that Uganda don't miss out of this. The problem we have in Uganda cannot be solved by just electing in a new leader. We need to change the system of governance. And the only system that can give us a true solution is federalism. You can recall the last time people or Ugandans shed out tears, it was when the government of late Sir Edward Mutesa II was overthrown by gunmen whose deputy was Nadiope. That is the government which was running on federal system. So without addressing that issue, even if you elect who in the same system, that person will be a dictator. So what we need to do is to look into the governance system. Our manifesto covers a lot when it comes to land. There is a policy on land use. This nation is covered with land grabbing in every part of Uganda. And it wasn't a problem before until this government came in, where a lot of government people go out with a lot of money, buy land, chase people from their land. So we need a policy on that. We want to make environment conservation also a point where we want to make Uganda a forest again by planting fruit trees along all the roads, the feeder roads, the Tamaka roads. It will help us when it comes to rainfall formation, but also employing so many people. How? I talked about getting simple machines to use, that is agricultural modernization, which is very important in our nation. But let me give you an example. Kenya, they have got mangoes, but their juice is not sweet as the mangoes of Uganda we have here. So they come here, they buy mangoes, they take to their nation. Go to supermarkets and ask for juice that comes from Kenya. It costs 15,000, 20,000, 10,000. Our juice here just costs 3,000, 2,000. So we need that value addition and the things that we do here. And that will open for us a large market that is international. You know, we have been talking about East African Federation, then Africa, Pan-Africanist, what. Before you do it in your country, you cannot trade it in anywhere else. We need to work. We need to make sure that in our country we have federal, so that we opt for East African Federation. And that is the problem that we are facing. Now all the countries, the neighboring countries, they are scared of us because of our way of governance. They don't know what will happen. And you've heard some of the neighbors saying, we had a settled nation, but now what has come, the instability, it is because of Uganda. So we want to deal away with that. There is another important thing that people are not considering. We have been voting, and we supported Honorable Kyagulanyi, as said last time, and his win was taken away. So we need to do something this time around. As we go on, people have not considered some things like the biometric machines. We have written to the justice.
Candidate
Maybe all of
Joseph
you have already voted in those machines. Where are the servers for those machines?
All right. Dear candidates, thank you so much. A round of applause for them. Uganda and the world, you have watched. The debate ends here. However, the choice also begins here. On the 15th of January 2026, you will be presented with a paper. That paper will have 8 candidates